Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. These words are found in the Proverbs, precisely Proverbs chapter 14, verse 34, if I'm not wrong, of course. Greetings to all of you on this particular evening. It is the 24th of June of the Gregorian year 2021. This is first evening in my country. Some 27 hours ago, I spoke live via YouTube, but this evening, while trying to switch on to the live program, I discovered that my webcam is not functioning, and therefore I'm obliged to record this video via Cyberlink UCam, and hoping that I shall be able to upload this video onto various sites. During my live telecasting of last night, I endeavored to elaborate the significance of the divine rainbow, referred in the very first book of the Torah, the Holy Bible, known as Genesis. But God the Almighty sets his rainbow in the cloud, assuring Noah, his family, and of course all those who believe in God the Almighty, that he would never destroy the whole creation. And no doubt this rainbow is sometimes abused by various communities. This would have been last night by certain groups who wanted this to be projected in shades of light in order to represent something which is totally contrary to the Holy Bible, including Leviticus chapter 18, if I'm not wrong, and verse 22 onwards, and also the epistle of St. Paul, or Paul the Apostle to the Romans, chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. I already mentioned that, to the best of my understanding, God created Eve, a woman, for Adam, a man, and he ensured that Adam, the man, would be there for the woman. Since Eve was created for man, and not only for man, but by extracting the side rib of a man, according to the Holy Bible or the Torah, a woman is certainly not inferior, neither superior to any man. She is equal and ought to be treated with all due respect, and indeed with all due affection and love. However, today, to my delight, if I may use the expression, I heard on the news, broadcast both by the BBC World Service and Deutschlandfunk Radio, that a certain country has promulgated legislation in protection of children and youths, even though many think that such legislation violates human rights. I do not agree with them, with all due respect, who think that such legislation violates human rights. or even the rights of the minority. Any country which ventures to protect its babies, children and youths does a wonderful thing. God the Almighty always tried to defend and protect the innocent against those who tried to victimize them. I mean the innocent. And most certainly, I do believe, basing my belief upon sound inferences, that God's plan was always to ensure that babies, children and youths be protected, unless, of course, He commanded otherwise, as it is also found in the Torah, including the first 5 books, namely, or mainly I should say, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, and the 5th of the books named as Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. But later we also see that God chose youths to reveal something to others. To the best of my remembrance, He chose the little boy Samuel, in order to reprove Eli, whose sons were abusing their priesthood and the rituals based upon the same, the holy priesthood which ought to be acknowledged by his sons instead of depriving others who brought their offerings to the Lord. Later in the New Testament, we most certainly see that Jesus Christ himself said to his disciples, and if I'm not wrong about the quotation, it goes something like this: "Let the children come to me, for such belong the kingdom of heaven." In other words, children represent something which is divine, even something which is heavenly. Indeed, even the Almighty himself, as far as the purity of children are concerned. Therefore, I cannot support under any circumstances those who think that freedom of speech should be unlimited. Freedom of speech is certainly a shield which ought to be respected and well regarded. This is the fundamental right of many nations and states, including our own. The freedom of right is deemed a fundamental right based upon our Constitution, which was promulgated as early as on the 26th of November of the Gregorian year 1949, followed by our Republic Day some 2 months later, not some, but exactly 2 months later, on the 26th of January of the Gregorian year 1950. If I have made any mistake, our Constitution was promulgated on the 26th of November of the Gregorian year 1949, followed by Republic Day on the 26th of January of the Gregorian year 1950. But our Constitution also says quite clearly, particularly on that particular article, Article 21 of our Constitution, which very, very firmly guarantees the freedom of the citizens of this country, that such freedom can be curtailed by law. Indeed, the law or the legislation concerned which curtails or restricts any freedom ought to be approved by sound and natural justice and equity, even befitting Article 366, if I'm not wrong, 366 subsection 10 of our Constitution, the same Constitution which was promulgated on November the 26th of the Gregorian year, 1949. But returning to the divine plan of the Creator, we must remember that our Creator gave us freedom in order to glorify Him, not to glorify His arch-enemy, initially called Lucifer because he was the bearer of light, as I mentioned last night. He was most probably the most prominent of all the angels created by God the Almighty. Notwithstanding, he rebelled against God the Almighty. He even wanted to place his own throne, Lucifer's own throne, above the throne of his creator God the Almighty. And thus he was cast out of the kingdom of the Most High King, the Lord of Lords and the God the Almighty. And he became, Lucifer became Satan or Shaitan. Let us not make the same mistake I reiterate today or tonight, as I mentioned it last night, of considering ourselves wiser than God the Almighty, superior to God the Almighty, thinking that we know something better than He did or He does, and He will do. That is not possible. We are His creation, simply clay in His hand, because the mud, the dust, everything was created by Him. And He created us according to the Torah, the Holy Bible, from that dust. It is a grave error, a grave sin, to rebel against our Creator, like Lucifer, and fall into the same trap of becoming the enemy of our Creator. Let us support those countries which endeavor to protect the legitimate rights of babies, children and youths, even against all types of corruption. Freedom of speech ought to be a shield against tyranny, a shield against arbitrarial dictatorialship, a shield against arbitration and wrongs of any and every kind. But freedom of speech ought not to be permitted to corrupt the innocent, even the little ones, even the youths, who are the very future of their community, their nations, and our world as a whole. Therefore, my most beloved, dear and respected viewers, I ask you, I beg you, I implore you to come forward in support of those states which endeavor to uphold the rights of the babies, the children, the youths, in other words, the innocent as a whole. let us not condemn them, nor support those who want to condemn them, because they are on the right paths. It is a great tragedy that a union is falling into the same trap to which we referred, or I referred last night. Even the trap referred by that dreadful film or movie called The Omens, the Eternal Sea, which is supposed to give birth to the Antichrist, the son of our arch enemy, Lucifer, the devil, Shaitan or Satan. Nor let us hear and believe the false prophets warned by the Holy Scriptures. We are the creation of our Creator. It is our duty to honor Him, to serve Him, to uphold His commandments to the best of our ability, even to His greater glory and our own protection. I remain convinced that we can and shall be able to overcome all kinds of odds, if I may use the expression, including all types of plague, even the ones caused by coronavirus or viri, if we adhere to the commandments of our Creator, God the Almighty, and not fall into the trap set by His and our arch enemy, the arch enemy of ours as the arch enemy of His, Lucifer, Shaitan, the devil. I thank you once again for viewing this recorded video of mine, as I was unable to go online due to certain problems. I wish you the protection of the same Creator who created you, my most beloved, dear and respected viewers and friends, and those innocent victims who may be corrupted due to the abuse of many others. And at this stage, I would also invite you to speak out against those film industries which, for the sake of their business, private gain, are not at all doing anything reasonable to protect the youths. On the contrary, even sitting in this little chamber of mine, I'm able to open and view various types of videos which are likely to corrupt any innocent person of a tender age. It is true that sometimes those media simply ask to click the button which says, "I'm above 18." But there is no way they really are checking that. I fear that such move is likely to corrupt our youths too, notwithstanding the freedom of speech, which is meant to shield us against tyranny and wrongs of various types. So let us use that particular right of ours, the freedom of speech, to condemn those who are trying to corrupt the youths, the children, even leading others to abuse the babies. I thank you in anticipation for your kind understanding. and remain at your service.